Courtship. This is episode 8. So let's start talking about what happened. So we see this particular episode that her parents are now back on the scene. And I don't know if maybe they just had them like in a hotel for a couple of days, or did they like film it where they had to fly back in? I have no idea. But anyway, so they have a dinner party, and um, Cone makes a speech and he winds up like interrupting Mr. Remy. It was kind of an awkward moment. I mean, he was trying, but it totally fell flat. He didn't, there was nothing, there was no substance to his speech, and that was the issue. Let's see. Oh, and then Nazel. That's the French one. Now, the dad was definitely liking him, but I think what it was, he carries himself, I mean, he's cultured, right? He carries himself poised and postured, and he's very, I, I don't know if he's well traveled or not. I mean, between, France and England, maybe that, I guess for Europeans, I'm sure that's not considered to be well traveled. That's like saying, Americans say that, well traveled, and I went to Toronto last summer, right? But anyway, so but I think his, the bicultural thing and also being bilingual was good. Now, it was interesting when the dad was talking to him, and he was asking him in French, do you speak French? And the dad's saying a little bit. Now I know her dad is Haitian, so I don't know like the background, like when he did, I mean, was he born here? Was he born, because he sounds like he may have been born in Haiti. And usually people, usually people, they know French. But then again, you never know. Who knows what age? So, because the reason I say all this is that because I was expecting like, oh, okay, well, when her parents meet Nazia, is it going to be like this full-on French conversation? So I was kind of, looking forward to that, but that didn't quite happen. But anyway, that's okay. So then we have Mambre and Nazaire. Now these two are both the Englishmen on the show, and Mambre is feeling very much like, ever since Nazaire came onto the scene, like, uh-oh, I got this competition. And Mambre was trying so hard when he baked that cake. And see, Mambre, I felt like Mambre would have been a good option for her because he's family oriented, and he cooks. God, I just can't say that enough. He cooks. He's nice looking. But I just thought he would have been a better choice. But anyway, let's see. So then they decide to play some parlor games, and it was so funny. The one with the kitten, and they're like, crawling around on all fours and like, doing. It was funny. That was definitely a cute little game. And she was like, "Oh, these parlor games are like the club." she's got her drinks, and they're all like drinking and stuff. So that was actually kind of cute. I like the little parlor scene. Um, so then what happened? So then when the guys now in that parlor, because it was a dinner, and then the parlor games followed afterwards. So but not everybody got invited to that. So the guys that stayed behind, they're talking with one another, and Mr. Chapman just goes ahead and just spills it. You know what? I will not be able to propose. I don't think I can give her, that kind of life or whatever. And I was like, you know what? See, that's exactly what I was talking about. This guy who I believe alleged, okay, I believe that, basically they got it on that night when he spent the night in the room. I really do believe that. And I felt like, she's really kind of connected to him because of that intimacy that they shared. And, next week's episode, oh, that's not going to look too good. But yeah, I mean, he just told the guys, and whenever they tell the guys, that's basically meaning that they're gonna reveal it to the woman, sooner, like the next episode or whatever, because of course she'll find out. Um, so all right, and I just thought to myself, like, he's good looking, but I mean, he's a model. I mean, what kind of money is he gonna be bringing in? Come on, listen. Now, it's gonna sound, not very nice. I understand to everybody, and I'm not saying everybody is gonna make six figures. Not everybody does. I don't make that kind of money myself, right? Um, but this woman is already accomplished. She's on television. She's acting basically now. This is an acting career. So you're gonna need somebody to kind of match you. Now, when you're up into like some kind of you got Rihanna money, you got Beyonce money, then okay, maybe you have to kind of soften up like some of those restrictions for financial requirements for the person that you're dating, because it's very hard to find people that are in that same top tier of income like you're making, right? This is, she needs somebody that still makes a decent amount of money and will be able to either travel with her or at least be open to, traveling once in a while. So I just felt like Chapman wasn't it. I mean, I felt like he was on here for his little debut to, get another modeling contract or something. I mean, could you have not lied and said that you did something that maybe you did like 5 years ago instead of saying you're a model? Because that's just so obvious that you're here for other reasons. Allegedly. Anyway, okay, so who's next? So her mom seems to take to Mr. Hunter. Now she likes him, and I think it's probably because he's a little bit more reserved. And let's see who else. Mr. Holland. Okay, that's the guy from California, the nice-looking guy with the kid, the single father. Now, she was saying, to her mom that she feels like he comes on, not that he comes on too strong, but that he's a little too much. Like he really wants this to happen, and he's really dedicated and stuff like that. And to me, I was like, listen, I can't knock the guy for going in and having the right intention, because that's what you're supposed to be doing when you're on, going through this process. I mean, this really is like a glorified, like a little sort of not dating, but like going to be married type show. And just like The Bachelor, right? Because a lot of those people do wind up getting married, or some of them anyway. Yeah, it's just, I feel like at the end of the day, Mr. Holland, with the age that he is and his, having such a young child, you don't need to be on TV trying to find a spouse. You need to be back at home in LA or wherever the child lives, being as close as you can, whatever, mileage proximity to your kids, so that you can, I don't know, like, just be more focused on that. And then dating as like, not to say you can't date as a single parent, of course you can, but just the child needs to be the priority, not like going on a dating show. Like, you need to be spending time with your kid. There's so many kids who don't get to spend enough time with their fathers, especially children of color. I just don't even like the fact that he's on the show with his situation. Now, if he had like, maybe like a 15-year-old or something, but he's got a little kid, like, learning to wear pull-ups age type kid. I mean, that's really too young, so he shouldn't even be here as far as I'm concerned. But, okay, so then they go clay pigeon shooting. And let me tell you something, Miss Remy was like everyone she was getting, she was like, yeah, well, back in the military, not only was I, could I shoot, but I was a doctor. I was like, you know what, you better come through, Mrs. Remy. I like that. She's definitely a, I like the mom. I really like the mom. Okay, so while they were out there, she asked, I remember Miss Remy asking Mr. Hunter about his dating history. And she said, have you ever lived with someone? And he said, yes. And she was like, oh, okay. And then she realized in that moment that she really didn't know that much about him. So she wants to explore that later on. So let's see. So then later on, Mr. Hunter goes to Remy's place, and it was really beautiful. I just love the scene. How she's sitting in this room, and there's like this huge, massive, tall doorway that's just like so open to the outside. Like, it's not like a transition room, like a vestibule or something. It's just like so open, and it was really nice. I don't know, like for the filming, do any of you guys know if they filmed on location or some of those scenes set in a studio? Because definitely when I was looking at the decor, like even in the parlor room, like, okay, side note, because I love decor and architectural design, historical architectural stuff like that. And like when they were in the parlor room, they were playing, and they had this the fireplace was one of those coal inserts, which is like from the Victorian era, but it was obviously a gas fireplace. And I'm like, in a place like that, if that's really a mansion, can't you find a room that literally has like a real fire? Like, that would have been so much nicer. I don't want to see all that cheap stuff. And I noticed that like some of the curtains and the walls, it looked very much like a set. Even some of the outfits, like the men's outfits actually look really good. The women's outfits, the colors are so bright and vivid, it doesn't feel very historical. But I know they're not going for necessarily complete historical accuracy here. I'm just being a little bit historically type A at the moment. But, it's fun to see that kind of stuff. But yeah, they really played us with that fireplace. I did not like that. That I was like, okay, you can definitely do better than that. Even just get a regular fireplace, even if it doesn't have the insert in it, just like a regular fireplace would have been beautiful. Such a nice scene. So anyway, so yeah, they're talking, and she's trying to get some background on his dating history, and he's kind of closed off. And I mean, it's understandable. Some people are not that, not very open or whatever. But this is the guy that grew up on the boat, so he has such an interesting past that I just, I bet he has a whole lot of information that we just don't know about. And I want him to come clean and let us know, especially since the mom is interested. And I don't know though if Miss Remy's into him. I feel like she's just kind of keeping him around. Now, I did forget until they replayed it that they actually did share a kiss earlier. So I guess there is some chemistry there. But it doesn't seem like she's been giving him any kind of play these past few episodes. So, all right, let's see. So next, okay. So that's Mr. Hunter. So yeah, so Chapman tells the guys about that he's not ready to propose. And then, okay, so then Mr. Cones with the final scene with the guys. We see Mr. Cones. Now he goes up to her, and she's like sitting down. It's like a little picnic area or whatever. And he tells her, I gotta tell you something about my past, and that, actually, I'm sexually fluid, I'm bisexual. And I was like, oh, okay, you know what? This is where the new era of, we're seeing a lot more diversity in all types of areas, not just in ethnicity in terms of media and it being okay to talk about these things. And I was like, you know what? Good for him. Finally, a man that is honest about his bisexuality. I mean, it just never happens. I mean, I see that more in the gay male community where a guy will say, oh, I'm bi, but you don't really see that in the straight community because they know how they're going to be judged, not by just women, but men too. Men will judge you, women won't want to date you. And, my philosophy on that is, well, who cares? I mean, the thing that people think about is like, oh, well, if my spouse is attracted to two different genders, then that's more chances that they can cheat on me. Well, I mean, okay, numbers wise, okay, but it really does ultimately come down to the person's personality. Now, if you have somebody who's just like a little bit, they're still out there in the streets, they're still dating, they're promiscuous or whatever. Or when I say promiscuous, I mean, and they're in a relationship, but they're always, stepping outside the relationship, then that's a different story. But I mean, just in general, just because someone's bisexual, I mean, that's not necessarily, I mean, and I know men's, sex drives and women's sex drives, generally speaking are quite different, but I don't know, I didn't think that was like the worst thing in the world. I feel like the more that we have people like Combs, Mr. Combs coming out and saying, hey, I date both, no big deal. And he was saying, I want to be able to say, to my kid, or she was saying, I would want to say to my kids, instead of them coming up, hey, this is just who I'm interested in. And I think that's so much healthier, right? And I really loved the way that she responded to that. So we will see. Now, the way she feels about him being what do you call it? Forthright or up front. I don't know. You guys know what I'm trying to say. But the fact that he's so upfront about his dating history, that's one thing. But is she still someone that would be too worried about him cheating on her with a guy? And it's it's a thought. So I don't know. Now, the thing is that throughout this season, or throughout this season, basically, these past, because this was episode 8, so the past 7 episodes, we have not really even seen her interact with him that much. So I'm thinking, well, if she's not really interacting with him, then maybe she's just really not into him to begin with. But I think, this is what I'm thinking. Okay, just bear with me. I'm thinking that she's not going to pick him and then it's going to be like this backlash, like, oh, is it because he's bi or something like that? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. We don't know. We're not, we don't know how comfortable she is in a dating scenario with someone who is openly bisexual. But, if nothing else, I think, it kind of opens the door for other men to come out and truly say who they are. I just feel that that was a very important moment. I do not feel like she's going to pick him in the end, and I don't know if his sexuality is going to have anything to do with it, but I just think it's a win for bisexual men to be able to express who they are. Okay, so now, all right, so that was the last, little juicy scene. So then they did the farewell dance, and it was Chapman, Mumbrey, Hunter, and Holland, okay? So let me tell you something. She got Mumbrey up there, and she eliminated him, and I was like, oh my God, really? Like, I just felt like, if you're looking just long term, the fact that he can cook. Now, I'm not like I said, I feel like she needs someone who financially can match her and do better. And, I don't know what he's bringing in, but I know he has French culinary training. He can make good money. He definitely can. So he has a good earning potential. Now, maybe she doesn't want earning potential, and I understand that. Sometimes you just want people to be already coming to the party with the bag already filled with money. I get it. I listen. I don't blame you, but I don't know if it was that or just maybe it just was purely physical or what it was. But I just felt like he could have been a good option for her, but that's fine. So yeah, she lets him go, and he was graceful. He's very gentlemanly about it. But one thing though, he had said that he had never fallen in love before, and maybe that was a red flag too. Because if someone says I've never been in love before, but I'm here to get married, I'm on a show to get married. I guess if you sit there and think about it, yeah, maybe he wasn't the best choice. But I felt like he was developing feelings for her, and he was really making an attempt to really, try to win her affections. But I guess that didn't work. So, ta-ta for now. So who's the next one? Oh, Mr. Holland. Oh my God. Now listen. Now this one was like, everyone was heartbroken when she eliminated him, honey. She was like, I just don't see it. And I don't care what anybody says. It's that kid. Okay? It's the fact that he's a single father. And the fact that he's a single father, sometimes that can put thoughts into your mind like, will he make me a single mother as well? You know what I mean? Because sometimes, some people, they have a history now, but he's only got one child. I'm not saying he's got like 4 other kids out there, but sometimes that can be a thing. And I don't know what he's doing financially. Didn't seem to be really, I don't know. It just didn't seem like there were enough things there and the reason I keep going back to finances is because we're talking about marriage here, people, okay? Marriage is not just love and roses. Marriage is a contract, okay? You have to be able to, weather certain things, which sometimes require, financial stability. People don't want to be on a shaky foundation, especially women, right? I mean, sometimes, depending on your financial situation as a woman, sometimes your financial status is very much a factor into who you look to settle down and to start a family with, right? I mean, you don't want to be struggling on your own. But sometimes it still winds up happening, but at least you go into the process thinking, okay, let me try to, make sure all my ducks are in order so I can have this life the way I imagine it, X, Y, and Z. Not all women, but for some women. And I'm thinking that she's a little bit more on that side of the fence because, she's here doing a Regency style dating, right? So this is not necessarily a religious thing or something, but just kind of like, going by etiquette and rules. Therefore, we can, if we follow these rules, I can find the right person, and that right person will help me be set up and be able to join in my life. We can join our families and income. And with Mumbrey, because the fact that he cooked for his family on the weekends, they had their barbecues and stuff. But anyway, so yeah, Mr. Holland, he was just like, man, he went into an entire soliloquy, as they were on the dance floor, and he's talking. He's like, but I really think that, we could make it, and this, and it was just, it was too much. It was a little too much. And to me, what I got from that is somebody that's a player, somebody that likes to talk, and, it's kind of like, the nice skin, the good looking, and and they're talkers. You know what I mean? That's exactly what I got from him, because it was just too much. Like, I liked how much he was into it, but when you talk too much like that, it can seem overwhelming. So then it feels like it's too much pursuit, almost like he's sweating me. Like, oh, come on, get off. That's what she was getting, I think, as well. So I think it was a combination of where he's at in life, financial. I feel like it's being a single dad, and I feel like he kind of had a little bit of that player vibe, just not player, but like he's going to cheat on her the first day, but kind of like he may have a history, with women. That's what I got. So then the last two that she left were who was it? Hunter and Chapman. So, and the funny thing is that when we see the upcoming scenes for next week, it's like, Hunter, you should have eliminated him this week, or not Hunter, but Chapman, you should have got rid of him this week. But I guess the grapevine didn't quite, the whispers didn't make it through the grapevine over to her yet that he's not ready for a long-term committed relationship. I mean, the guy's a model. I mean, and he's great looking. So you know, this is like when you're on this type of, dating type show, and they get all of these people, they get like really beautiful looking, guys to choose from, and there's so many. I think it's just very easy to, go with like who you're most attracted to. Now, who I did not talk about was Danny B. Now, Danny B was cutting that turkey and stuff like that, and he has really hung in there. And I noticed some of you guys have left some comments in my comment section. Thank you so much. I love when you guys leave comments about who your predictions are. And Danny B, I mean, he's holding strong, right? I'm telling you guys, I'm telling you. Now, I don't know that I'm right, but him being a New York asshole is not necessarily going to be a deterrent for a girl from Seattle, where the dating culture is so much more passive. When you got a guy that's like, I like you and I'm into you, and he's telling you, and you don't have to guess. I mean, some women like that. Some women like that. And when you come from Seattle, listen, you see in the background here, this is a dark, cloudy day, right? I mean, it's always like that in Seattle. It's dismal, and sometimes the personalities can be a little bit like that too. So I don't even know how people date in this city, but I can I can imagine, being a single girl in Seattle may make somebody sign up for a dating reality show. So then you're going to try and go for like the really good looking ones, especially because she's still kind of young, right? So, Danny B, I mean, I don't know. I still really think he has a chance. And don't forget, like, now hold on, wait a minute. Do you guys remember, was it Danny B that, like, in the beginning, one of the guys that the parents, like, was Danny? No, 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 no. It wasn't, no. I'm confusing. I'm mixing up my Italians. It was the other guy. What was it, Castronovo, the pizzeria guy from New York as well? Yeah, so that was the guy that the parents liked. It wasn't Danny B, I'm sorry. And the brother didn't like him, but he did go back to the brother and try to make amends, because, he knew he was coming off basically crazy, looking like, what the hell are you doing here if you're just here for an experience. So, he tried to, try to walk that back. But I don't know. I mean, do you guys think, what do you guys think about Mr. Judge? Because remember how her eyes lit up like freaking Christmas trees when he got on the scene. And he is, it's hard to kind of, I'm guilty of it too. Because you look at them and you're like, you tend to think, oh, like, well, who's nice looking? Now, Mr. Judge, small town guy, he's from, where is he from? He's from Michigan, and he's a wrestling coach. So I mean, maybe she'll pick him, maybe she won't. I feel like in terms of being like a family guy, he could be a good fit. I just want to know more about him. But every time he tried to open up his mouth, Danny B was basically interrupting him. So anyway, well, Nazir, he made it through. He's gonna be coming back, and I mean, I think they're just keeping him on. Because I mean, I don't think that she's really gonna choose him. He's just too suave. The whole Renaissance man. Yes, she's here for that kind of, romantic, whining and dining and romance, being swept off your feet type of thing. But I still feel that, in spite of that, I still feel like she has just enough sense, And then she also has her court. Remember, her sister and her best friend and her mom can also tell her, yeah, well, this one may be cute and da 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 da, and have nice manners, but how's this one going to be in a long term da da da? Or if you want to have children, or you want to continue doing acting gigs, and is this person going to be able to stay home and take care of the children because she's an actress, right? So we'll see. I just right now my money is on Danny B. That I mean, it's not because I'm from New York or anything like that. It's not that. I just feel like he his New York swag I think it's got her enchanted. So we'll see if I'm wrong. I have no idea. You know, I guess like ideally if I could pick somebody for her, I mean, I would love Mr. Judge for her, but he's got to make more money though, because he's like a wrestling coach, and I feel like that financial thing can get in the way, especially because he's from the Midwest and he may be intimidated. It can happen down the line if she's making more money than him. But we need that financial stability, ladies. Let's just we're not over here NYC India. We do not sugarcoat any of this stuff. So, yeah, I mean, but he looks so much like a model or an actor that I'm wondering if he does other stuff on the side. But we do not want models and actors for her. We want people with solid employment. And a wrestling coach, that's a good job. Now, if it's okay with her, then it's fine by me. But I just hope he makes enough if she were to pick him. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see next week. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with a friend, subscribe, turn on your notification bells because I'm going to be doing this live more often. Sorry, I forgot to explain earlier. So the reason I switched over to the live format is basically because I would spend all this time doing these videos and then I'd be, uploading 3 or 4 videos at the same time. And sometimes it would take 2 days for the videos to completely go through. And by that time, people have, the show went off 2 days ago. Who the hell cares? You can't even remember. You're just looking forward to the next episode. So I was like, I got to get to my people on time because we're about being on time around here, okay? We're doing good time business around here. So anyway, guys, please stay safe, take care, give it a thumbs up, and check this out.